Hey everybody, welcome to Trending. Today is Thursday, August 18th. It's around 9:30, and we're grateful to have you with us. How are you today, Joe?
I'm doing great, man. We were just talking before we got recording here. This is the first time being in the studio on a Thursday in like maybe a month.
Yeah, but between you were home last week, I was home with COVID. We had the convention before that, so it's been a while since we've been here. So good to be back.
But we do have Dr. Strange.
Got Dr. Strange back here.
He's been up there a while.
We need to swap out the action figures over there.
That's right, yes. There we go.
All right, Joe, I got 5 topics today. I've got, I think, a good mix. A couple, I think, that are just really fun. I'm excited to tell you about. And then a couple, there's 2 things in the news I want to get your theological take on. I think it'll be an interesting discussion.
All right.
So, let's start with some, so hang on. So if you're here for the meat, hang tight. We're going to get to the sugar first. We got some just juicy, silly, fun things to get started with. So speaking of sugar. I don't know why I'm going to... So this is number 11 currently.
Okay.
Have you heard that Snoop Dogg has his own cereal?
No.
Snoop Dogg is releasing his own cereal. Snoop Loopz.
See, that's
Snoop
what
Loopz.
dreams are made of right there.
Yes. And so my understanding is it's going to be basically Fruit Loops with some marshmallows thrown in there. So even more sugar. Well, why not?
So I kind of feel like we're getting to the point on Trending where we need like a food taste test portion.
Yes.
Because there is a theme developing. Like we had the pink sauce, and I ordered Matt some pink sauce for his birthday. It's on back order as she gets the FDA approval on this stuff. So
yeah,
that's imminent. I mean, you've got like this bold prediction coming up, from Taco Bell.
Right, Cheeto Burrito, right?
So now I'm going to go, I'll promise you this. I'll go online, get some Snoop Loops. Get that coming out, and we can have a bowl of Snoop Loops.
Dip them in the pink sauce. We'll go full trending on the latest food science.
With an Airsman in the cup next to it. I mean, I'm telling you, like this is becoming the dominant theme.
We need to have like a cooking segment.
Yeah, we do.
Like we do on Today's Show or whatever.
All right, that could be fun. All right.
Snoop Loops coming soon to a store near you. You're going to try some Snoop Loops?
I can't wait to see the nutritional facts.
It's going to be a lot of sugar.
There might be some other stuff in it. Just not Snoop Dogg. I mean, let's just be honest.
There might be some hidden ingredients.
That's awesome.
Okay, another just kind of fun things. Well, let's see. What order should we do? Okay, here, let's do this first.
Okay.
So there's a big tournament going on right now. I'm not sure if you've heard about. I don't know if it's made its way to ESPN, but I feel like it's one of those things similar to like the hot dog eating contest and some of those kind of things that make their way to ESPN.
Okay.
Right now is the National Mullets Championship. And I think it's specifically for children. So it's for the kids in the U.S. who have the best mullets.
Okay.
And I'll put a couple pictures on screen, and there are some real amazing mullets in this competition.
Nice.
Exactly what you would imagine from a little blonde kid with a very out-of-control mullet, and it's pretty awesome.
Okay.
So
all right.
Keep an eye out for the National Mullet Championship. Would you ever do a mullet? Like I feel like you might for your marathon coming up. I could see you.
Yeah.
If it was tied to some kind of competition or something, I could see you rocking a mullet.
I just don't know if I could get the clearance, the hall pass for that. But I think it's a good move that they made it about kids because people are probably, at least if they are decent human beings, they're not gonna dunk on kids for having a mullet.
Sure.
They may dunk on their parents for like allowing them to have a mullet, but they're like, I am hoping that like the vitriol and the ire in the comment section, anything posted about this is relatively tame and nice. Hopefully it's more clever humor than cutting humor.
Yeah.
And so we actually so we're in the hockey world. Mm-hmm. I think the hockey world like made the mullet happen. Uh-huh. Like I think like paintings of like aristocrats, and monarchs back in the day, like that's where the mullet really came from.
Yeah.
But there's something about hockey players and mullets. Like they're the ones who just can't let it die. Like they like to have like that free-flowing hair. They call it lettuce in the hockey vernacular, okay? It's like when you're like blowing by somebody, like to have that, but you need to have it out of your face so that you can, have a good visual. So it's been around forever. My friend Jess Langvart, fellow SC grad, he was the first one who told me that a mullet is called Kentucky Waterfalls.
Yes, right. I saw that.
And there may not ever, like, I don't know if there is a waterfall in Kentucky. We can fact check that.
Yeah.
But there are plenty of mullets.
Yes.
So that's why they are called Kentucky Waterfalls.
Business up front, party in the back.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yes.
So it seems to me like it's in very good nature, good humor. It seems like it's just a fun thing. So I don't know. I just thought that was kind of entertaining this
But
morning.
didn't, like, Pat Mahomes bring it back? Let's just be honest.
I don't know. Let's see. There's another athlete who recently got one.
But he's like, Mahomes has had it for a while.
Mahomes doesn't really have a mullet.
Yeah, he does.
Did you call it a mullet?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't know. We'll have to go to the judges on that one.
Okay, well, I think he popularized the most modern iteration of the mullet.
Okay, all right. Fair enough. Fair
Yes,
enough.
and so I think if you're a Kansas City Chiefs fan, I think you have to like the mullet. That's all I'm saying. So watch yourself.
Spoken like a true Packer fan. All right, keeping things moving.
Yeah.
So number 6 this morning, I think it was higher yesterday. So the Dodge Hornet. Dodge is making a new car.
Okay.
So I think that's going to be one of their first all-electric battery-powered sports cars.
Nice.
And I think it's supposed to come out next year.
Okay.
And so I think it's kind of buzzing because for a long time, electric cars it looks like the future of automobiles, right?
Yeah.
Like that's kind of where things are going. But I think a lot of the people who are into racing, or if they're into specifically like muscle sports cars, there's a brand or branch of that group that wants to stick to oil just because it feels like that's what you need for like a sports car.
Right.
But this one is supposed to be a really fast, really great, fully electric car. So it's kind of just a mark in time of this is kind of the future. This is where things are going. And Tilly and I, we don't buy cars very often. Like we keep our cars until they're not working anymore.
That's right.
So, I would guess my next car might be an electric car. Like if we're looking, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 years down the road, I feel like that's where things are going. The government's kind of having some regulations on at least the big manufacturers have to have electric options soon. So it's just interesting to see how the automobile world is changing pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think we're vowing both of our cars are going to be electric. The next cars that we get from here on out.
Yep.
I think we believe in the technology, believe in eco-friendly, measures and stuff. I'm already driving a Prius, halfway there, right?
You're halfway there.
Yes, but so when I was starting to drive, I started to take note of different, car names and stuff. And whenever we would see a Dodge, like our family would say, like Dodge is an acronym for like dumb old dad's gas eater.
Okay.
Like if they're going electric, they're gonna have to change that now,
Yeah.
man. Like or else it's gonna be like a bit of a fuzzy thing for me.
Nice.
So, but anyways, it's very cool, man.
Dodge Hornet looks pretty cool.
I think like half the cars that were featured at the latest like New York car show, you fact check me on that, were electric cars. So
Okay.
they were electric vehicles. So either they're trying to please a certain part of the public, or this is a hat tip of where the whole industry is going.
Yep.
But so this is kind of exciting that Dodge is coming on board.
Yeah.
I think it's a good deal.
I think it's cool. It's just fun to see where technology is taking transportation.
That's right.
Okay, let's see. We got 2 more. So let's start with this one. So one of the top stories this morning is the Tasmanian Tiger.
What?
Yes.
Okay.
So a lot of people probably heard of the Tasmanian Devil.
Right.
This is the Tasmanian Tiger. So
Okay.
we've talked, I think that a few months ago now, we talked about how there's these scientists who are bringing back the woolly mammoth, right?
Okay.
The same group is now bringing back the Tasmanian Tiger.
Okay.
So the Tasmanian Tiger, existed hundreds of years ago. It was extinct, and now they're using CRISPR and similar like DNA technology stuff to try to bring it back. And so, of course, we all go to Jurassic Park. Why are they doing this? This seems like a bad idea.
We've literally seen this movie many
5
times.
or 6 times now, yeah. But so their rationale is so the Tasmanian devil it
Right.
actually is becoming extinct, and there's other animals who are becoming extinct because this animal used to exist, fighting off predators. So that when the Tasmanian tiger went away, it just messed with the Tasmania ecosystem, and now they're thinking if they are able to bring this back, it might kind of restore order and keep other species from possibly going extinct. So obviously, bringing it back one is a long way from it being a species in the wild again. But
Right.
okay, so my question for you:
All right.
I've heard people talk about this as our science and our technology continues to advance. We're able to do crazy things with DNA and CRISPR and things like that. Where do you land theologically on that? Some people I've heard say, like, where are the lines where are we playing God and creating new species, or healing diseases that, so where do you see the theology in this technology conversation?
Right. So I think that we have a bit of a collision here, and maybe that's not the right word, but because on the one hand, like, Psalm 8 tells us that we are crowned with glory and splendor. Like, there's something about human beings that gives us certain properties where we can explore. We're filled with wonder. We can rationally think through things. And so part of it's like, this is something that we should do. Like, we should, with the best way that we can, leverage technology, explore new things, because a lot of times it leads to wonder. It sometimes does lead to exploitation and danger. So we got to, of course, be aware of that.
Yeah.
But I think a key feature to exploration is wonder. The space, I think it was Apollo 11 space mission, when they went up to the moon, they actually took a disc. We might have shared this on a previous trending episode.
Okay.
But they actually took messages from all the different countries of the world. And the Vatican, like, in their message, they had Psalm 8. Like, this is us as human beings, like, keeping in mind, like, even though if we get to the moon and land there, like, we're still human beings. God is still God. We're not. However, this is a great human achievement. So there's that interesting collision there. At the same time, a place like Ecclesiastes would say, like, watch that you don't dig through the wall because there might be a snake on the other side, right? So there is a subtle warning. And this is the warning from Genesis 1 through 11 in what we call primeval history. The common theme, human beings going beyond our boundaries. It tends to be on the other side of that. It is not good. And it's something that actually God tries to chasten us from. And so I think we have to keep both of those things in mind. I think we should explore. I think we should push what's going on. However, be prepared that we could be pushing through a boundary line that we shouldn't cross. So I think if we come up against opposition, there needs to be at least a minority report saying, maybe this is as far as we should go.
Yeah.
And not going further, because there might be a Pandora's box on the other side of this thing. Right.
Yeah. And we're making the Jurassic Park jokes, but, like, let's say we do bring back some of these people. We don't really know what'll happen if we bring this tiger back into the wild. Or, it's great. We're solving some pretty crazy diseases these days with all this technology, but we don't know what, like you said, we don't know what's on the other side of that, what other unintended consequences might come the more advanced our technology becomes. So I feel like that's going to be one of the trickiest things of our lifetime is, where does science take us, and where does the church mix into that? And where are we okay? Where do we think it's too far? Where do we rely on God? Where do we rely on science? That's going to be, like, really messy for a while.
One of the things that I appreciate, so when I worked in Atlanta, the senior pastor's wife, she worked at Emory, which is one of the main research hospitals in the country. It was the main one there in Atlanta. Her training is in philosophy. So they actually brought her on board on staff. Like, her whole gift and her whole job was to consider the philosophical ramifications of research and application of medical sciences for people. And I just think that was comforting to me. Yeah. That we're not just looking at data. We're not just, even though that's important, we're not just looking at practice and not just looking at molecules and microscopes, but we're also saying, okay, what is wise? Yeah. In this situation. Yep. And therefore, that's why I'm comfortable with explorations, because I do believe they keep people in the room when these things are happening, who think about these things from a philosophical point and not just from a biological standpoint. Sure. So I think that's an important feature of how discovery happens.
And I think it's one of those things where, the church probably needs to be involved in some, like, there should be a theologian in that room too, So, like, I think a lot of times we stay away from that, but I think it's better for us to be a part of the conversation than for us to wake up one day and be shocked by where we are. You know what I mean? So anyway.
No, I think you're right. I mean, theology used to be the queen of the sciences. Up until the Enlightenment, it was one of the best things to attend university for. It was the one that was most funded. The best minds were in theological chairs. And so should it be the only science? No. No. We should have other sciences out there. Your pastor should not have the answer to all things. Like that. We see trouble in churches because of that. We need to leverage other thought. And I think there should always be room for a theologian to at least weigh in. Yep. Even if it's like a minority report, like to have like another voice in the room that can offer another perspective.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll keep an eye on that. That'll be interesting to see what happens with the Tasmanian Tiger.
Yeah, dude. So
we'll see.
That's going to be somebody's mascot someday.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
And I'll be here for it.
They're weird-looking creatures. I'll put a picture on the screen here. So, yeah, if we see those in the wild, I would run the other way for sure. Okay, last one, kind of similar. It's in the news, but I want to get kind of a theological spin on it. So, our friend LeBron James, friend of the show.
Hey LeBron.
Hey, Bron.
Yes.
So you probably heard he signed a new contract with the Lakers. Let me get all the numbers right here. So he signed a new contract. I think it's a 2-year deal.
Okay.
For $97 million for 2 years.
Okay.
Which that his career total is now $532 million for his career, making him the highest paid NBA player of all time.
Right.
So one of my thoughts that I go to after that is like that's just a lot of money, right? That's a whole lot of money. But then I looked, and currently Jeff Bezos is worth $169 billion.
Yeah.
So LeBron has made $530 million playing basketball. Bezos has $169 billion. So we talked about how like science, and that's going to be part of our generation. That's going to be a thing that we continue to wrestle with. I feel like this income inequality gap is also something that is big in the news right now, and I think it's going to continue to be an issue that like as we get older, as time progresses, it's going to be an issue that keeps coming up. What do you think about that? What do you think about a small group of people having a whole lot of money? And I'm a capitalist. I'm not saying that we should be socialists. I'm not trying to go there.
Right.
But like it seems like it's that is going to be a problem that we're going to have to wrestle with, I think.
Right. Yeah.
And I've heard people make the argument like if X amount of people go to Lakers games, that money's got to go somewhere. I guess it's probably better to go to the players than the management, I suppose. So if the people who are actually making the money probably should get paid, but where do you land on people making a whole lot of money?
Oh my gosh. Where do I land on that? I think this is probably going to be a fixture of human life. I think some people are naturally gifted at, that's one of their gifts. It might even be a spiritual gift of generosity, of administration. Like some people can truly make something out of nothing. Like it is like a superpower of theirs. And if they get a financial opportunity, over and against like someone like me who just doesn't seem to have that gift, like they can do it. They can do it almost effortlessly. Some people use it for good. I think some people exploit it. I think it's always going to be in the mix. I do think that we have to address income inequality. I do think that some people are born with a head start, and that's not saying that people who aren't born with it can't make it. Yeah. Hopefully that's not such an outrageous claim. I think that's common sense. And so I think that we do have to say, what are things in the way of people truly getting a chance to make more money than what they make right now? Yeah. What I do like about Bezos, LeBron James, and others, that is a whole lot of money. That's a whole lot of money for one person to have. Yeah. I think that there is an adequate social pressure upon those types of individuals to give back. And I'm not here to tell LeBron James to do his money, but he did that big school in Akron where he's given away a ton of money to a ton of families. Yeah. And he's doing it hopefully out of the goodness of his heart. Maybe he wants to help polish his image. I don't know. Jeff Bezos, Amazon, they're obviously doing other things. I mean, sure, Bezos had that interesting gaffe of thanking employees of Amazon for sending him into space, right?
Yes,
and at the same time, all of these like deep dives into their hiring and employment practices, which are not above board, it seems, right? But at the same time, like they gave money to the Seattle Kraken, which is the newest NHL team, climate change arena there, which is a marvel of structure. They could have named it Amazon Arena, but they chose not to. Like they chose, even though they like donated all the money basically to build it, or a large portion of it, right? And so I think that as long as there's great social pressure, I think as long as these folks have some sort of an incentive to give it to other people to try to lift up people around them, I think that's a great fixture. But the love of money does something to us, and that's something that our ancient traditions have told us. Judaism has told us this. Christianity has told us this. Other wisdom traditions tell us the same thing. Like, if we have someone in our community, in our life, who they seem to be so obsessed with money, it will reduce them to something subhuman. And that is something I think that we have to be appropriately aware of and concerned about. That if more and more money going to less and less people, what are they doing with it? I was listening to some reporting this morning. I think sometimes people imagine if I had more money, I think it'd be great. But there hasn't been a person who hasn't got more money, more rich in their life, who there's not political ramifications of what they do with that money. And so I just think we have to think about why do I want to get more money? What am I going to do with it? And what good for the world is it going to do? I think with those things in mind, those are the things I think theology is totally obsessed with when it comes to the issue of resources.
Yeah.
The Christian life says learn how to live on enough, right? Christian people tend to be people who figure out what it means to have enough or maybe plenty and then share the rest.
Yeah.
One person I look to in the faith is John Wesley. John Wesley, early in his pastoral career, knew how to live pretty simply. And therefore, he just made this personal vow that he would always just live on that amount. In fact, he said, if you find on me at the end of my life more than X amount of money, then call me a liar and tell me that I didn't live by the truth. This guy learned how to live on this, and he gave away the rest. And when he got exponentially more throughout his career, he gave buckets and buckets of money away because he knew the Sermon on the Mount. He knew the calling of Christ on his life as a minister and as a person who was leading a Christian movement. That the love of money was going to get in his way of some of those other priorities. And so he dedicated himself to it and he actually lived into it all the way to the end. Like he never deviated from that. And I think it's something that we have to consider as Christians who want to follow the way of Jesus. No matter how much money we get, little or a lot, what are we doing with it that honors our God and that helps to love our neighbor and the world around us? I think it's an important thing for us to consider.
Yeah, absolutely. I think finances and how we handle money, to me, it's kind of almost, these kinds of things are almost proof of Christianity in a way for me.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
Because if you live with generosity and contentment, if you treat your money the way that the Bible instructs us to live with money, you're going to be happier. You're going to be more successful in life. You're going to have less stress probably. If you do what the Bible tells you to do with money, you're going to live a better life. And the Bible is very old. And those truths haven't changed. And so I think, like you said, it's an ancient truth. It seems complicated in our world today. It is complicated. What do we do with income inequality? But if you live with generosity, you live with contentment, you're going to have a better life.
And I turn our attention, if you're a reader, I turn your attention to Tim Keller's got a book called Counterfeit Gods. He talks about 3 different gods. Wealth is one of them. And he just, in the wake of the financial collapse, he was just pulling from reporting of people who have more money than you and I will ever have. Like they probably lost more money than we'll ever have throughout their life, just everyday business stuff. But when they lost a lot of their money because of the financial ruin that our culture experienced, many of them could not think of any other next response but then to take their own life. He's like, this is what this God will do. This God will reduce you, like the God of money. It'll reduce you. It'll cause you to act out of shape into your Christian identity. It'll cause you to alienate your friends, to do things that you never thought you would do. And ultimately, if you don't have enough and it's taken from you, it just might convince you that it's not worth living any longer. And that's the warning that we get from wisdom traditions, because it's the stakes, to use a pun correctly, the stakes are high with this area of our human experience.
Well, LeBron, be generous, be content.
I think it's cool. So the news is out there. He wants to play with Bronny. He's got a 2-year deal now. It looks like Bronny's going to be drafted by the Lakers. So what a cool thing. This guy wants to keep playing basketball, not to make buckets and bucket money, because actually this is a pretty small contract compared to what he's gotten before. But he wants to play with his son.
That would be pretty amazing if they were on the Lakers together. So,
anyways.
All right, we covered a lot of ground today. We got to keep moving.
I'm sorry, man.
No, it's good. I think it was a good conversation today. So you should Google the Mullets. Keep your eye out for Tasmanian Tigers. And be generous today.
That's right.
Anything else?
I don't know. I think that's
Look out for tigers.
We had a ton of baptisms last night. Here I am being the preacher, exaggerating account, but we had so many baptisms at Lake Baptisms. We do something we do annually. It was a fantastic time. Neat stories came out of that, and so we celebrate with all of our baptism candidates, I guess is what they call it, like in some liturgical circles. But I just hope that it was a great experience for them, that they remember it, and that their life is kind of different now because of what they experienced together with the church. So it was cool.
It was very cool. I encourage you to come on Sunday morning. We'll show a slideshow of those pictures during the services. You'll be able to see those if you missed it. Hope to see you Sunday. Back again next Thursday.
Sounds good.
All right. Have a good weekend, everybody.
See you next time.